Hi there YouTube, this is Clormo from Clomo Industries Music Group, bringing you part 2 of my Logic Pro X tutorial series on making sample beats, and I'm going to be talking about time stretching versus chopping. Not a lot of detail to be given here. I'm not gonna do a lot of show and tell here, just present one versus the other, and that means that this tutorial, this video is going to be a little bit more of an optional and informational tool, but I'll make sure that it helps you out in your progress. And having said that, parts 3 and 4 will deal in more detail about these two concepts, and I'm gonna explain there how the different options you have to create both and which ones I usually go with in my workflow when creating sample beats. Having said that too, one of the main purposes that I want to achieve with this is make you think about how you're going to make a beat at the time that you have selected your sample, meaning big section, small section, just a small sound. You know, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to time stretch it? Do you want to chop it? Do you want to use it in an existing beat? Do you want to create a new beat with that? So that's one of the main purposes with this tutorial right here. So with that being said, defining what time stretching is nothing more than changing the tempo, that means the speed or duration of an audio file, without adversely affecting its pitch, either by accident or on purpose. And by that I mean that in Logic Pro X and all the DAWs, you will have different ways to time stretch an audio file, and one obviously will be better than the other to your ears, but not only that, one will definitely give you a different result that might be giving you pitch changes that you didn't intend to, and all these things are going to be presented in more detail in part 3. Now, chopping a file, like chopping an audio file or sound, it's nothing more than just extracting an exact or specific section of your sample and then either rearranging it to create a new melody if you're using something like an MPC or a sampler type of instrument, or just adding that to your sound library, either of drum breaks or drum sounds or special effects, all that sort of thing. So with that out of the way, now going to the show and tell part of the tutorial. I have a track here with a 4-bar guitar loop that's actually at 125 BPMs. It's its original tempo, and let's just take a quick listen to it. So let's say I want to time stretch this. Well, there's different ways that I can do this, but first of all, if you notice, I had this originally at 90 and changed it back to 125. That's the real tempo of this. It was that I just had one of the time stretching methods active before. If I don't have that active, which was the flex time, and I change this to 90 BPMs, it's just gonna change the measurement that I originally had for this loop, which was 4 bars, and now something crazy here. If I play the file though, it still sounds the way it should sound, right? Nothing altered there. So that's why if I want to time stretch this, how can you go about it in Logic Pro X? There's the time and pitch machine, and there's also flex time, which is the one that I had active originally and that I'm gonna activate again to show you. So with flex time enabled here, if I change this to 90 BPM, the audio file stays at its original 4 bars, and if I play it, it essentially makes it slower, which makes sense. But notice that the pitch did not change. So that's what time stretching it's all about. And now when I deactivated it at the 90 BPM, it went back to that weird length there. Now, if I want to chop this, there's again different ways to do it in Logic Pro. Those are gonna be detailed in part 4. For example, you can trim or split at the playhead, and this that I'm moving here, if you didn't know that, it's called the playhead. If I place it in a region and I select the audio file and do that command, it's gonna split right there. So that way you can create chops wherever you want. That's one way to do it. Another way of doing it, it's the marquee tool, in which I can present it, that marker there, anywhere on the audio file where I haven't selected, and if I press the delete key, it's gonna chop it anywhere. The only difference between trimming at the playhead position versus the marquee tool that makes the marquee tool a little bit more interesting is that you can catch the different transients of the file using the marquee tool. And there's that word again that I used in part 1, the transients. I'm gonna keep repeating that in the series. And another way that you can do it, it's converting this file, this audio file, into a sampler instrument and telling it to divide it into different transient markers that the file naturally has. And again, part 4 is gonna go into a lot of detail into how to do this, because in chopping itself, different from time stretching, the many different ways that you have to do it may come in handy depending on what you really want to do. So there's not really a big advantage of one versus the other. So as I start closing this tutorial, one thing that I wanted to say is that there's kind of a soft limit to what you can do with each of these commands. And by soft limit, I mean that obviously if you overdo time stretching or you overdo chopping, you may get, as I said in the beginning, some crazy sounds, some non-natural sounds. However, that should not limit on how you want to do or what you want to do. If something sounds non-natural by conventional standards, but it's good for what you want to do and you want to use it in your musical arrangement or on your beats, go ahead and do it. Don't pay attention to anybody that tells you, no, you chopped that too much, or you chopped it in the wrong place, or you time stretch it too much, or you made it too slow. Forget about that. Just do whatever you need to do, and let's stop being cookie cutter. So in closing, I'm gonna be detailing time stretching and chopping in parts 3 and 4 respectively. I hope you enjoyed this video, which main purpose was to give you a no-nonsense introduction into these two concepts and help you decide what are you gonna do when you create your beats, if you're gonna take a sample and stretch it or chop it, or maybe create a beat out of that sample doing both methods. You could create one version, create another. I sometimes do that. It's good for practice more than anything, but it's also a way of improving on your style and on your workflow. So all those things, keep them in mind for parts 3 and 4 as I go into detail on these. Also, same as like finding tempo in part 1, these techniques here will help you be a little bit more refined when creating your beats, but there's no issue with being sloppy. Again, if your style and your sound calls for it, just be sloppy, just do you. And I'm gonna be the first one to admit that I sin sometimes of emulating too much my influences. I know if you're watching this video and you hear me saying this, you probably think the same way, but doing that, it's no excuse for doing you and doing your own sound. And again, do whatever you want, whatever sounds for you as best as it can, whatever's good to your ear. Just go with your instinct and create with that. Don't let anybody tell you that's the wrong way to do it. There's never a one way to do one thing, and there's, in music, in beat making, in my view, there's never a wrong way of doing anything. If it sounds creative, go for it. with that, I'll leave you for now. So make sure to like, comment, and share this video. And if you have any questions or you want me to create a specific video for something else that's not related to sampling beats, leave a comment or make a note of it, and then in the future come up with a video. Again, I want to make different tutorial videos about beat making mostly, but if I know a concept that you have a question on, I'll surely take the time out and make a video of it. Also, subscribe to the channel to be the first to get the videos as I release them, that being free beats or beats for sale and other sounds and opinions, and of course more videos. Also, make sure to go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and like and follow Clormo there to stay on top of all the stuff that I'm gonna be releasing, not only on beats and beat making and writing, but other blogs and opinions as well. And last but not least, all my free beats and selected beats are located in my personal webpage, which is www.clomoindustries.com. Make sure to check that out too. All my contact information is also in the description, so if you want to hit me up for anything, just leave a comment, send me an email, shoot me a note, whatever, man. We're here to listen to all of you. With that, I'll leave you for now. Have a great day. Peace out, YouTube.